Right, welcome to the channel, ladies and gentlemen. Look, Apple could look to acquire Disney amid stock drop, analysts say. Now, this is actually not news. This rumour has long gestated for, well, a very long time. Dating as far back as a good couple of years now. It's been happening on and off for a long period of time. But there's a clincher here as to why Apple may genuinely look to do this now. Obviously, with everything that's happening in the world, and that's in part to do with Disney's brand new streaming platform. Oh yes. So we'll take a look at this news in a second. I do want to just say a few words here. I am running a film. I said in a few videos yesterday I wasn't going to be pushing the GoFundMe, but a lot of people have just said continue as normal. So, hey, I'm making a movie. If you want to support me, make a film, check out the link down below in the description box to my GoFundMe. I've got a big update on that dropping very, very soon. I just need to edit the video to present to you guys, to explain everything that's happening amidst everything that's going on now. But outside of that, please do hit subscribe. Please do like the video and please do share it. But hey, let's get into it. Oh, and also, I really hope you're all well, ladies and gents. I will say this a few times here and that. I really hope you're all well. I'm struggling to get food in. So hopefully no one else is having that problem, because that's balls. Problems. And honestly, if you don't believe me, just Google like food shortages or food panic buys in the UK. It is insane. It's madness. Anyway, Apple could look to acquire Disney amid stock drop. Right. So this is a new news or a new part of the rumor. Now I say new. I mean it was done what, like 3 days ago. Obviously there's lots happening and can I get to these things a little bit slowly now. But mega cap companies with large cash balances and whose equity outperformed Disney over the last 3 weeks, like Apple, could take advantage of the volatility as the hits Hollywood stocks. I can't actually say that. Videos are being demonetized if you use that word and put it in the title and stuff like that. So well done YouTube for silencing people talking about something which is a global issue, but you know, whatever. Now, why isn't Apple actually affected by any of this? Well, predominantly, none of their stuff is really affected by this. Obviously, the issues, you know, they obviously run Chinese sweatshops and things like that, and that's, you know, a conversation for another day. But their hit on this is actually very little. I mean, they don't sell an awful lot of phones on a month-by-month basis. They do, obviously, but it's more at prior to, you know, when launches happen. And then everything else is just Apple TV. They have had to shut down a bunch of productions. In Toronto, Canada, that's shut down. I know that for a fact. I know people that are working on it. So they have shut down a whole bunch of productions, but they're locked in subscriptions, so they don't lose any money. They have delays on things, but if they've staggered the releases of their series, there's really not much of a hit. Not anywhere as much of a hit as the likes of Disney, which have to cancel movie releases. Black Widow, that's one of the latest. That was rumoured to be put up for streaming or something like that, which was never going to be the case. They were never going to do that. But they're obviously going to delay it. They have done now. So Disney will take a massive financial hit in terms of stock prices and stuff. Now, obviously, it goes on to say some bits and pieces similar to that. It says, with stock markets battered by the coronavirus. I said it. I'll try and bleep it out. And shares of entertainment giants hit hard. God damn it. Some on Wall Street have started wondering if cash-rich technology powerhouses could consider takeover offers for Hollywood companies. That's the problem. There's a lot of theatre companies which are going down in the UK. There's a lot of concern for indie, art house cinemas. We call them cinemas over here, but theatres. There's a lot of issues. You know, it's really hitting people hard. Now, Rosenblatt securities analyst Bernie McTiernan, or Turnan, in a Friday research report, for example, suggested that Apple, led by CEO Tim Cook, could potentially consider acquiring the Walt Disney Company, led by Executive Chairman Bob Iger and new CEO Bob Chapek, after its stock dropped below the $100 mark last week. Now, they said, Okay, we believe those with long time horizons, like mega cap companies with large cash balances and whose equity outperformed Disney over the last 3 weeks, like Apple, could take advantage of the volatility, noting that Disney's market capitalization was approximately 165 billion, while Apple has about 107 billion in cash and securities. The upside from acquiring Disney would be securing their content streaming strategy. So there you go, it's all about that, and potential synergies from adding the emerging Disney ecosystem to the iOS platform. Because I mean, can you imagine that, like a Apple iOS with Disney Plus kind of merged into it? I'm not an Apple guy, but I think that sounds pretty cool. So Apple didn't respond to comment. So that's interesting. Again, they do sometimes comment on these things. And we'll get to some articles in a minute where they have directly responded. So McTernan, who highlighted that over the last 3 weeks, Disney has lost about 85 billion, or roughly 1/3 of its market cap. That's insane. Also argued that, among other benefits, streaming service Disney Plus could help boost Apple TV Plus streaming service. Disney Plus could solve Apple's content problem, as we believe Apple TV Plus is off to a relatively slow start. But everyone is. Like Disney only has the benefit of an entire back catalogue and also their insatiable hunger for buying other companies and items and things like that. So, I don't think this will happen, because again, Apple's stock on Friday jumped to 12%. Jumped up by 12% to 277.97 amid a market rebound. I would imagine it's probably dropped back down again though, because everywhere else is kind of experiencing it a little bit harder. I don't know, I'm just saying that. Now, again, we have to take a look at everything that's happening here, and the fact that they said Apple didn't respond to a request for comment. I mean, this has been going on for a long, long time. And, Bob Iger happily talks about it. So why aren't they commenting on this now? I reckon there is some validity to these claims. Bob Iger says he believes that Disney and Apple would have merged. Again, he says it's almost like a non-starter. It would have actually happened, done. Not even got to the negotiation stage. Bang, not up for debate. Would have happened. I appreciate I probably said that very strange just then. But just because the Disney CEO might think such a deal could have happened doesn't mean it actually would have transpired. No, that's true. But who was in charge of who in Disney, right, has made the most moves of acquiring assets? Bob Iger. That's what he's good at. He's good at buying up IPs, buying companies, buying assets. So if this man thinks that it would have happened, I reckon it would have happened, especially if he was in charge at the time. Now he says doesn't mean it actually would have transpired, even with the backing of two strong-willed personalities like Iger and Jobs. It probably would have done. I mean, if Bob Iger can convince people on the board that buying Marvel, and it sounds like, of course, it's a no-brainer, but at the time Marvel was tanking. Marvel had literally had to sell off filing cabinets at certain points in their business to stay afloat. So if Bob Iger can convince a board to buy up Marvel, yeah, I think he would have convinced them to buy to be sold to Apple. I definitely think he could have done. Now it continues, a merger of Apple and Disney would have required the approval of the boards and shareholders of both companies, as well as regulatory clearances. That's the bigger... See, that's the thing which would have stopped it, and would stop it now. But if Disney can buy Fox, which arguably, it looks like it makes them a monopoly. Obviously, regulatory law has said that it's not, but it looks like it is, for all intents and purposes. It would have been the better company propositions that would have been very high hurdles to clear, notwithstanding the fact that Jobs was Disney's single largest shareholder with a 7.4% stake in Disney after selling Pixar. Now, Iger, in the excerpt from his forthcoming autobiography in Vanity Fair, in which he suggests an Apple-Disney union was in the cards, so he says it again, doesn't go into the strategic rationale for such a deal. The revelation came out just after Iger resigned from Apple's board, as both companies prep subscription streaming service launches this fall. I still reckon it would have been. Again, Bob Iger says Apple and Disney were on a path to merge. under Steve Jobs. So if he hadn't died, it probably would have happened. And it raises good questions now. Like, is it going to happen now? Because everything that's happening in the world, potentially. I don't know whether it's a good thing. Different people in charge, maybe producing better stuff, maybe. But Apple are not the best company in the world, are they? Let's face it. They're pretty morally reprehensible. I think that Ricky Gervais' little rant says a lot about that. But anyway, I'd love to hear your thoughts on this. Please do let me know down below in the comments. Again, I'm making a film. We're almost at 60%. Please help push it past the 60% mark. You won't be disappointed. Scheduling, shooting dates now and everything like that. It's really coming together. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to it, and I'm really looking forward to showcasing it to you guys as well. I think you're going to like it. It's only a short film. It's only 15 minutes long, but you basically do about $1,000 a minute on films of this scale, and that's a short film. That's a tiny film. Accommodation alone is ridiculous. It's fucking unbelievable. Anyway, I've ranted too much. Guys, thank you so much for watching. I've been Mr. H. Take care.